And we are back with part two of this week's reading of the Messianic Jewish Family Bible, Tree of Life Version, TLV. And this is the Bible study for Waymaker Messianic Jewish and Christian Center USA. We are in the book of Proverbs. We're going to be completing the book of Proverbs this week, and we are now at Proverbs 18. A fool's big mouth. One who isolates oneself, seeks his own desire. He defies all sound judgment. A fool finds no delight in understanding, but only in expressing his opinion. When wickedness comes, so does contempt, and with dishonor comes disgrace. Well, yeah, if all you've got is your own opinion, you're not open to anybody else's opinion, you're a fool because you may be missing some understanding of something. The words of one's mouth in deep waters, a fountain of wisdom, a flowing brook, showing partiality to the wicked is not good, nor is depriving the innocent of justice. The lips of a fool enter into an argument, and his mouth invites a beating. A fool's mouth is his ruin, and his lips are a snare to his soul. The words of a gossip are tasty morsels going down into one's innermost being. One who is slack in his work is brother to one who destroys. The name of Adonai is a strong tower. The righteous one runs into it and is set safely up high. A rich person's wealth is a strong city, or like a high wall in his imagination. Before ruin, a person's heart is proud, but humility comes before honor. One who answers before listening, that is his folly and his shame. One's spirit sustains him through illness, but who can bear a crushed spirit? A discerning heart gains knowledge. The ear of the wise seeks knowledge. Overcoming opposition and offenses. A man's gift makes room for him and leads him before great men. The first to state his case seems just until another comes and cross-examines him. Casting lots ends quarrels and decides between mighty opponents. An offended brother is more formidable than a fortified city, and quarrels are like the bars of a fortress. From the fruit of his mouth a man's stomach is filled, with the harvest of his lips he is satisfied. Death and life are in the control of the tongue. Those who indulge in it will eat its fruit. Whoever finds a wife finds good and receives favor from Adonai. The poor request favor, but the rich answer harshly. A man with many friends may be harmed by them, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. And that's a type and shadow of Yeshua. Yeshua sticks closer than a brother. Proverbs 19, better to be poor with integrity. Amen. Better to be poor walking with integrity than be a fool whose lips are corrupt. Zeal without knowledge is not good, or to act hastily and miss the way. A man's folly undermines his way, and his heart rages against Adonai. Wealth adds many friends, yet a poor man is deserted by his friend. A false witness will not go unpunished. One who breathes lies will not escape. Many seek the favor of the generous. Everyone is a friend to a giver of gifts. All a poor man's relatives despise him. How much more his friends avoid him? He pursues them with words, but they are not there. One who gets wisdom loves his own soul. One who treasures understanding prospers. A false witness will not go unpunished, and one who breathes lies will perish. Luxury is not fitting for a fool, how much less for a servant to rule over princes. Watch your temper. Prudence makes one slow to anger, and his glory is to overlook an offense. A king's wrath is like a roaring lion, but his favor is like dew on the grass. A foolish son is trouble for his father, and a quarrelsome wife is constant dripping. House and wealth are an inheritance from fathers, but a prudent wife is from Adonai. Laziness brings on deep sleep, and an idle soul will starve. One who keeps a mitzvah guards his soul, but one who neglects his ways will die. One who is kind to the poor lends to Adonai, and Adonai will reward him for his good deed. Discipline your son while there is hope. Do not set your heart on his death. And that means that if you don't teach them well, you're actually causing them to falter into possibly eternal death. One with great rage will pay a penalty, for if you rescue him, you will have to do it again. Listen to wise counsel. Listen to advice and accept instruction so that in the end you may be wise. Many are the plans in a man's heart, but the counsel of Adonai will stand. What is desired in a man is loyalty, and a poor person is better than a liar. The fear of Adonai leads to life, and he who has it rests satisfied, untouched by harm. Sluggards, scoffers, and disgraceful sons is the final segment of Proverbs 19. The slacker buries his hand in a bowl and will not even bring it back to his mouth. Strike a scoffer, and the naive will learn caution. Rebuke a discerning person, and he will gain knowledge. He who robs his father and drives away his mother is a son who brings shame and disgrace. My son, if you stop heeding instruction, you will stray from words of knowledge. A crooked witness scorns justice, and a wicked mouth devours iniquity. Judgments are prepared for scoffers, and floggings for the backs of fools. Proverbs 20. Wine is a mocker, strong beer a brawler. Whoever is led astray by them is unwise. The terror of a king is like a lion's growl. Whoever provokes him endangers his life. It is honor for one to resolve a dispute, yet every fool quarrels. A slacker will not plow in season, so at harvest he looks, but finds nothing. The intent of a man's heart is deep water, but a man of insight draws it out. Loyalty, integrity, and justice. Many a man proclaims his loyalty, but a faithful man who can find? A righteous person walks in integrity. Blessed are his children after him. A king sitting on the throne to judge separates out all evil with his eyes. Who can say, I have kept my heart pure, I am clean from my sin? Unequal weights and measures, both are an abomination to Adonai. Even a child is known by his actions whether his conduct is pure and upright. Ears that hear and eyes that see, Adonai has made them both. Do not love sleep, lest you become poor. Open your eyes, and you will be satisfied with food. And there's a footnote, Luke 18:8 says, I tell you, he will quickly give them justice. But when the Son of Man comes, will he find faith on the earth? Adonai's lamp searches. It's bad, bad, says the buyer, but then he goes away and boasts. There is gold in abundance of rubies, but lips that speak knowledge are precious. Take a man's garment who puts up security for a stranger and holds it in pledge as security for a foreign woman. Bread gained by fraud is sweet to a man, but later his mouth is filled with gravel. Ooh, that's pretty heavy. Plans are made by counsel, so wage war with guidance. A talebearer goes about revealing secrets, so do not associate with a babbler. Whoever curses his father or mother, his lamp will be snuffed out in utter darkness. An estate acquired quickly in the beginning will not be blessed in the end. Do not say, I will pay back evil. Wait for Adonai, so he may deliver you. There's another verse later that says, Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. And yes, he will. Unbalanced weights are detestable to Adonai, and dishonest scales are wicked. A man's steps are directed by Adonai. How then can anyone understand his own way? It is a trap for one to say rashly, It is holy, and afterward and only afterward to consider his vows. A wise king winnows out the wicked. He turns a threshing wheel over them. The spirit of man is the lamp of Adonai, searching all his inmost being. Loving kindness and truth preserve the king, but his throne is upheld by loving kindness. The glory of young men is their strength, and the splendor of old men is gray hair. Blows that wound scour away evil, and beatings purge the innermost being. Matthew 15:4 says, this is a footnote. For God said, honor your father and mother, and he who speaks evil of father or mother must be put to death. That was one of the earlier commandments, and we had gone over some of those um, when we were going over the Torah, when God was actually giving the rules for Bnei Israel to live by. Proverbs 21. Adonai weighs the heart. A king's heart is like a stream of water in the hand of Adonai. He directs it wherever he wants. All a man's ways seem right in his own eyes, but Adonai weighs the heart. To do righteousness and justice is more acceptable to Adonai than sacrifice. Haughty eyes and a proud heart, the lamp of the wicked, is sin. Plans of the diligent surely lead to gain, but all who are hasty come only to loss. Getting treasures by a lying tongue is like a fleeting vapor for those who seek death. Wow, that's pretty heavy words. Incline your ear and listen. The violence of the wicked sweeps them away because they refuse to act justly. The way of the guilty is crooked, but the conduct of the pure is upright. It is better to live on a corner of a roof than in a house shared with a quarrelsome wife. A wicked soul craves evil. His neighbor finds no favor in his eyes. When a mocker is punished, the naive become wise. When a wise person is instructed, he gains knowledge. The righteous one considers the house of the wicked, throwing the wicked down to their ruin. Whoever shuts his ears to the cry of the poor will also cry out, but not be answered. A gift in secret soothes anger, and a bribe given secretly fierce rage. Doing justice brings joy to the righteous, and terror to those who do evil. Whoever strays from the path of wisdom ends up in the congregation of the dead. Whoever loves pleasure becomes poor. Whoever loves wine and oil will not be rich. The wicked is a ransom for the righteous, and the faithless for the upright. It is better to live in a desert land than with a quarrelsome, worrisome wife. Precious treasure and oil are in a wise person's dwelling, but a foolish person devours all he has. Whoever pursues righteousness and mercy finds life, prosperity, and honor. A wise person scales the city of warriors and brings down the stronghold in which they trust. Whoever guards his mouth and tongue keeps his soul out of troubles. A proud and haughty man, mocker is his name, acts with overbearing pride. A slacker's craving will kill him, because his hands refuse to work. All day long he craves greedily, yet the righteous one gives and does not hold back. The sacrifice of the wicked is an abomination, how much more when he brings it with evil intent? A false witness will perish, but a man who hears will speak forever. A wicked man puts on a bold face, but the upright man considers his ways. There is no wisdom, there is no understanding, there is no counsel against Adonai. A horse is prepared for the day of battle, but victory comes from Adonai. And Luke chapter 16, verse 15 was a footnote um, at the bottom of this one. And it says, but he said to them, and this is Yeshua speaking, you are the ones who justify yourselves before the people, but God knows your hearts. Okay, I want to say something here that is so true. Um, those people that are wicked, have been doing things in secret, have been doing deceitful things, have been lying, have been cheating, have been stealing from people, have been doing wicked, evil things. They may think they've gotten away with it, but God sees everything. God sees it all. They've gotten away with nothing. Maybe in this life, but this life is temporal. If they think they're gonna, get away with it forever, think again. They're gonna be so sorry. Um, I mean, it doesn't. They think they've got it. They're gonna live forever. They're not gonna live forever. No one is going to live forever, and they will be seeing the wrath of God, and that ain't gonna be pretty. But fools have no fear of God. Fools don't realize, and they don't know who God is. Fools will continue to carry on the way they've been carrying on, and fools will find themselves in eternal damnation and torture. Proverbs 22. A good name is to be chosen rather than great wealth, and grace rather than silver or gold. Rich and poor have this in common. Adonai is the maker of them all. A crafty person sees danger and hides, but the naive keep going and suffer for it. The reward of humility and fear of Adonai is riches, honor, and life. Thorns and snares are in the path of the perverse, but one who guards his soul stays far from them. Train up a child in the way he should go. When he is old, he will not turn from it. The rich rule over the poor. The borrower is a slave to the lender. One who sows injustice will reap trouble, and the rod of his fury will perish. One with a bountiful eye will be blessed, for he shares his bread with the poor. Throw out a scoffer, and strife will go out. Quarreling and disgrace will cease. One who loves purity of heart and whose speech is gracious will have the king as his friend. The eyes of Adonai guard knowledge, but he undermines the words of the faithless. The slacker says, "There's a lion outside. I'll be killed in the streets." The mouth of a seducing woman is a deep pit. Into it will fall one with whom Adonai is angry. Foolishness is bound up in the heart of a child, but a rod of discipline will drive it far from him. The one who oppresses the poor to increase his own gain, and the one who gives to the rich both end in poverty. Incline your ear and listen to the words of the wise, and apply your heart to my knowledge. For it is delightful if you keep them within you, ready on your lips, so that your trust may be in Adonai. I made them known to you this day, even you. Have I not written to you 30 sayings of admonition and knowledge to show you true and reliable words, that you may give a true answer to those who sent you? Do not rob a poor person because he is poor, nor crush the needy at the gate, for Adonai will plead their case and rob life from those who plunder them. Do not be friends with one given to anger, or associate with a hot-tempered person, lest you learn his ways and entangle your soul in a snare. Do not be one who shakes hands or puts up security for debts. If you do not have enough to pay, why should your bed be taken from under you? God does not want us to be in debt. So you know, this would not, he's saying basically avoid debt if you can. Um, do not move an ancient boundary stone which your fathers set up. Do you see a man skilled in his works? He will stand before kings. He will not stand before obscure people. And Proverbs 23 is advice about appetites. When you sit down to dine with a ruler, consider carefully what is set before you, and put a knife to your throat. If you possess a large appetite, do not crave his delicacies, for that food is deceptive. Do not wear yourself out to get rich. Be wise enough to restrain yourself. When you cast your eyes on riches, it is gone, for it surely sprouts wings and flies off into the sky like an eagle. Do not eat the food of a stingy person or desire his delicacies, for as he thinks within himself, so is he. Eat and drink, he says to you, but his heart is not with you. You will vomit up the morsel you ate and will waste your pleasant words. Do not speak in the ears of a fool, for he will disdain the wisdom of your words. Boy, isn't that true? We see a lot of foolish people out there today. Do not move an ancient boundary stone or encroach on fields of the fatherless, for their Redeemer is strong. He will plead their case against you. Apply your heart to discipline and your ears to words of knowledge. Do not withhold correction from a child. If you strike him with a rod, he will not die. Punish him with a rod and deliver his soul from Sheol, from hell. In other words, Sheol is hell. Wisdom's path to the future. My son, if your heart is wise, then my heart also will be glad. Yes, my inmost being will rejoice when your lips speak what is right. Do not let your heart envy sinners, but always be in the fear of Adonai, for surely there is future, and your hope will never be cut off. Listen, my son, and be wise, and guide your heart in the right way. Do not join those drinking too much wine or gorging on meat, for both drunkards and gluttons will be impoverished. Grogginess will clothe them with rags. Listen to your father who begot you, and do not despise your mother when she is old. Acquire truth and do not sell it. Acquire wisdom, instruction, and understanding. The father of a righteous one rejoices greatly. Whoever fathers a wise child delights in him. Let your father and your mother be glad. Let she who bore you rejoice. My son, give your heart to me, and let your eyes observe my ways. For a prostitute in a deep pit, an adulterous woman is a narrow pit. Indeed, she lies in wait like a robber and increases the unfaithful among men, lingering long over wine. Who has woe? Who has sorrow? Who has fights? Who has complaining? Who has bruises for no reason? Who has red eyes? Those who linger long over wine, who go longing for mixed wine. Do not gaze at wine when it is red, when it sparkles in the cup, when it glides down smoothly. In the end, it bites like a serpent and stings like a viper. Your eyes will see strange things. Your heart will utter perverse things. Then you will be like one lying down in the heart of the sea, or sprawled on top of a mast. They hit me, but I was not hurt. They beat me up, but I did not feel it. When will I wake up? I will look for another drink. Hmm. Proverbs 24. Do not envy evil people or desire to be with them, for their hearts contemplate violence and their lips speak mischief. Strength through wise counsel. By wisdom a house is built, but by understanding it is prepared, and by knowledge its rooms are filled. And every rare and pleasing treasure, with every rare and pleasing treasure. A wise man is strong, and a man of knowledge becomes even stronger. For with wise advice you wage war, and in many counselors there is a victory. Wisdom is unattainable for a fool. He does not open his mouth at the gate. One who plots evil will be called a schemer. A foolish scheme is sin, and people detest a mocker. Counsel on friendship. If you falter in a day of adversity, your strength is small. Rescue those being dragged off to death. Hold back those stumbling to slaughter. If you say, look, we didn't know this, won't he who weighs hearts perceive it? Won't he who guards your soul know it? Won't he repay each one according to his deeds? Eat honey, my son, for it is good, and honeycomb is sweet to your taste. Likewise, know that wisdom is sweet to your soul. If you find it, there will be a future, and your hope will not be cut off. Do not lurk like the wicked near the dwelling of the righteous. Do not assault his home, for though the righteous one may fall 7 times, he gets up again, but the wicked stumble in adversity. Do not rejoice when your enemy falls, or let your hearts be glad when he stumbles, or Adonai may see it as evil in his eyes and turn his wrath away from him. Do not be upset because of evil people, or be envious of the wicked, for the evil person has no future, and the lamp of the wicked will be snuffed out. My son, fear Adonai and the king, and do not associate with rebels, for their destruction will arise suddenly, and who knows the ruin both Adonai and the king can bring. These sayings are also from the wise. Partiality in judgment is not good. Whoever tells the guilty, you are innocent, people curse him, and nations revile him. But for those who convict the guilty, there will be delight. Good blessing will come upon them. An honest answer is like a kiss on the lips. Finish your outdoor work and get your fields ready. After that, build your house. Do not be a witness against your neighbor without cause, and do not deceive with your lips. Do not say, I will do to him what he has done to me. I will pay him back for his deed. So there is word against going against the innocent, and also word against, pardoning the guilty. The final segment is lesson of the lazy. I passed by the field of the slacker, by the vineyard of one lacking judgment. Surprisingly, it was all overgrown with thorns, the ground was covered with weeds, and its stone wall was broken down. and I took to heart what I observed and learned a lesson from what I saw. A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep, then your poverty comes tramping in, and you need it like an armed soldier. Okay, I'm going to come back with part 3.